Hello and welcome to the final day of competition here in the 2019 AGL. It is the battle between 3rd and 4th, a battle for the Bronze Bowl as I've dubbed it in previous times. It is the Victorian Eagles taking on the South Australian Sharks. I'm Kenny Andres, and before I forget, I will bring in my colour commentator, the 2018 New South Wales Women's head coach Dana Robinson. Welcome back to the booth.
Very good to be here again. Exciting game ahead.
Indeed. Without addressing it too far, obviously Victoria very disappointed not to be competing, so they will be playing with a point to prove. South Australia this year having the best record they've had in a national contest since 2013, which was under Coach Drew Aiken. Shout out to Coach Aiken if he's listening in from wherever he's travelling at the moment. But obviously they have an opportunity to finish the highest they have since that 2013 year.
There's been some flashes of some really great stuff by the Sharks here today. I've spent the most time looking at them, I guess, in this tournament, and I think it'll be some exciting plays that we can look forward to today.
And from what I understand, South Australia should be playing with a fully recovered team. Kyle Budd should be returning, and Victoria playing with a fully named outfit as well. Let's take a recap from yesterday's game, the battle for 5th and 6th. It was the All-Stars taking on the Western Australian Raiders, and it was a close battle with two teams who really wanted to get over the line, two inexperienced teams, and the All-Stars managed to edge out the Raiders on that play, registering their first victory ever at the AGL level. And the team list now playing on your screen. Here you can look at Team Victoria. Kieran Turner at number 1. He's a speedy wide receiver with a couple of touchdowns. Oh, Bennett locking down the outsides. Montel Wick at running back, almost busted out a huge game. Can't not talk about Maksutov out wide, but also plays some tight end. And then rounding out the team, the defensive line, Marone and Hazel Polkinghorn have really controlled the front during this tournament. That is Team Victoria. And now for South Australia. Coach, you've seen this game. Any names jump out at you?
Quite a few. I'm really looking forward to seeing Ben Keane. He's had a great couple of touches in the last few games. I think they're the most exciting part of the South Australian team are their big men. Both on defence, Ethan Galley's been having a great tournament, and the power of Sol Mabutu here at number 74 on the offensive line. He's been a great body to get behind for the running backs and a big contributor to their run game.
And good on you for giving the big men some love from South Australia. Obviously, the South Australian side often have to play above their weight when they come to this tournament. You know, I've talked to death that they don't have the strongest rugby or rugby league backgrounds to draw from your atypical, players who tend to play on the line.
They're one of the smaller leagues, obviously, within the country, but they do a great job of creating quality players that get to come in here and can obviously show up here at the national level.
See, Tarawa there on screen has really locked down this linebacking core for the Eagles. A true sideline-to-sideline player. And we're seeing the coin toss with all 8 captains going out for it now. South Australia, you see Rossi from Henshaw.
Same as before, guys. Just stay there and you walk around and do your circle. Come on in a bit. All right, Saturday, game 1, 3rd versus 4th. We've been here all week to have some fun. So let's go out with a good bang and all have some fun, hey? Any questions from you guys at all? Right, you're the away team. You got the call. Maple Leaf is the tail. The official's the head. What's your call?
Maple Leaf.
Tail?
Yep.
Call is tail. And it's a tail.
Whoa.
Would like to defer?
Yep.
What would you guys like to do?
Take the ball.
Like to take the ball. Which way would you like to go?
Defend that end.
Swing around. South Australia won the toss, elected to defer. Victoria to receive, ends as shown.
And that's the coin toss, ladies and gentlemen. You heard South Australia won the toss, electing to defer. Therefore, Victoria will take the ball. And just to acknowledge the captains of Victoria, Finn Hazel-Polkinghorn, Big Tui there, Big Isaac Tui, Max Sutov, and Tarawa. We just
Always an
talked about a moment
interesting
ago.
choice. Always an interesting choice to defer from the kickoff. Obviously, having a plan to send the defense out there first. If you can make some good stops on the first drive, then you potentially give your offense a chance to really start by scoring first.
Well, before we get too far into football, you see both teams line up on their respective 35-yard lines as we prepare to hear the Australian National Anthem. Australian National Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, anthem out of the way, formalities out of the way, we are ready to see a battle for third place commence now. The officials in the middle field having their final meetings and both teams returning to their respective sidelines. How about the back pedal there from Paul Mills?
That's some athletic ability there from the cameraman himself.
Camera too. See Victoria with their final huddle. I'm sure they've got some keywords they're going to be talking about, as will of course South Australia, but obviously a very emotional 48 hours for the Victorian Eagles.
These guys will be hyped to get on the field today and versing a team just like the Sharks. I think this will be a really good game to see where aggression is going to come through and take over this game. Whoever's the more physical, I think, is going to be winning today's game.
Well, I think just based it on the eye test, Victoria certainly on paper wins that battle.
Yeah, when physically off the mark, when you look at this Victorian team, by size, they are in numbers a larger team, and as well as physically and individually bigger players on average than the South Australian Sharks. So a lot of heart to be shown by these Sharks this game.
See, such close huddles. There's always a slightly tighter huddle in those final games. You know, not only for the result on the line, but also knowing that it's the last time you could be playing with some of the boys and girls around you.
Exactly right. I think the brotherhood that gets formed in tournaments like this is sort of irreplaceable, and creates some good messages and some good outcomes for those who really go back to their home clubs. I think that's a good culture.
South Australia took a long way with their preparations here. Victoria well and truly waiting for their opponent.
South Australians getting in the mood, talking about aggression. These guys are hyped to get out there.
Of course, South Australia elected to defer. Common States dictates the Victorian Eagles chose to take the ball. The South Australian Sharks confused about which side of the ball they're actually on.
A few mind games there from Victoria early.
I think that's just common sense, mate. Everyone's too amped to know which side of the ball they were in. Although, it's always interesting, I think, when the referees offer you the decision. Some say, which way would you like to run? And some say which end zone you'd like to defend. And I like seeing that moment of confusion in the captains.
Exactly right. You'd hope to have to practice that call in training a couple of times before the game itself.
Well, that's the problem. Sometimes you practice it one way, and then they say, which end zone would you like to defend? You find that you're defending in the sun for 4 quarters. And this is Abdul Jalul. I filled you in on his anecdote with his girdle issues a couple days ago.
I do remember.
And he kicks us off. The battle for third place begins. This is Kenny Liu, who's had a rocks and diamonds tournament so far, and mainly due to his own mindset, has the ability to take over a game.
Great looking return there.
Big Kenny.
Kenny Liu doing well to avoid all of the blockers, or rather follow his blockers and avoid any of these guys flying down the field to chase after him. Great gain here.
And coming onto the field, starting this time will be Sideropoulos. Now I will give you the heads up on screen. The clock will be at best a guesstimation as we are waiting for our booth official to come in and worry it. So it will be our director trying his best to keep up, but it will mainly be school. We'll try to keep you abreast of everything else. This play will be whistled dead. The give was there to the big man returning from an ankle injury, Javili Moatu.
Ethan Galley again, a name that I'm sure we'll hear
Prior
a
to the
couple
snap,
times today.
2 men in the huddle. 5 yards. Still first down.
Daniel, too many men in the huddle, too many players in the huddle. You can't break the huddle with 12 or more men, obviously.
An early mix-up here in this game, but hopefully we can shake off the morning rust.
It is odd. I don't know about the rest of the states, but I think most states, at least the Colts division, certainly don't play games this early.
No, tell me about it. So you're going to have to get prepared to have your breakfast.
Kenny Liu met very, very early by the Sharks. Linebacker number 58, Griffin O'Connor, defensive end, coming in for the stop.
And this has been the story of South Australia all tournament. Great plays by the big man up front, and those linebackers being able to flow and fill those holes. They've been doing a great job.
And out of all the teams, South Australia probably has blitzed the most out of any defense. Obviously, in that 3-3 stack, generate pressure with one less lineman. You have to be sending one or more.
Exactly right. It causes confusion for the offensive line. Who's that fourth rusher going to be, if any?
Sideropoulos back as a starter for the Eagles. He'll drop back, his first pass attempt of the day. Floats one into Turner. Turner's got a catch. He spins out of the first tackle attempt of Guy Field. And he'll make this third down conversion considerably easier.
South Australia only sending 3 men after the quarterback. It's a thread the needle type of pass. Great ball, great catch.
Big Vitali getting down there as well to try and get him over the line.
Go, Dave! Levi, that's where the ball is.
Two receivers out to the right now. Philly Moatu at the back. Two receivers left. Maxtov on the line in the left slot. No pass on third down. He's under pressure. Sideropoulos has got to get rid of this. Hughes makes a great attempt to try to make something out of nothing, but it's incomplete, and that will be a turnover on downs. I would say a 3 now, but let's see if they keep their offense out there.
Good coverage here out on that right-hand side to the offense. Causes the quarterback just to hold on it for a little bit longer than he wanted to. Enough time for that rush to try and get there and cause the pressure. Quarterback simply throwing that one away.
They're around midfield. Just a reminder again, anyone who might be tuning in a little late to the stream, our timekeeper and down official not quite in the booth yet, so we'll be trying to keep you up to date with that from our vision. It's 4th down here. They're going to try and go for it. Sideropoulos, has he caught them offside?
Great stuff.
I think that's the case. And I'll tell you what, the hard count's been used a lot on day 4, day 5, the latter days.
We've seen it a couple times in this tournament, and I think it's just those mental errors, catching people off guard after such a long tournament, however many days in a row that we've been playing now. It's
Pilot snap, false start on the offense, number 23. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
And here I thought they managed to grab the defense offside. It's actually a false start against the Eagles.
Jeez, that's got to be upsetting. Good call.
Eagles now. I thought they had them by a penalty yards on 4th down. Now it's 4th and 10. They're not changing their mind. They are going for it.
Situation not getting any easier, but in these stages, it's do or die.
I won't be surprised if either team choose to just keep the punter on the sidelines today. It really is the final roll of the dice for these teams, and they really are playing with nothing to lose.
That's exactly it.
Zoteropoulos. Spread formation. He's going to throw long on 4th down.
Got him.
Underneath it is Hughes. What a grab by Hughes on 4th down.
Great looking ball. Quarterback gets rid of that ball nice and early. Nice catchable ball out in front of the receiver. And that's a great job to high point that ball. Well done there by Seth Hughes.
I was trying to see the coverage out there. It looks like it might be some sort of cover 3. The outside guys with deep zone. Jaleel caught ball watching there and not realising how many steps Hughes had on him.
Exactly right. Not deep enough that time around.
You know a thing or two about playing defensive back, Dane?
I do. I do think that coverage is going to be somewhat limited in these sorts of games. Nice to keep it simple.
And here is this number 27. Is this Roby getting in for a touchdown for the Eagles?
And that's an easy way to finish that drive. Great job to the Eagles.
Sorry, I'll correct myself. That's Dylan Carroll getting his first carry of the day. Turns it into 6 points.
Bit of a bowling ball he runs through here. A favourite play, that power lead or that fullback lead. And you give yourself a great chance behind number 23, Jubil Filamotu.
And also look, you see Tui leading. Look at the trail of Shark defenders there. Left by the right side of the offensive line. 6-0 in favour of Victoria. Zoteropoulos in the shotgun. He'll look for a receiver on the 2-point conversion. He's got Maxitov near the corner. He'll throw to the back of the end zone, and Maxitov can't reel it in with his left hand. Score remains 6-0. Victoria strike first blood.
Great, fast, aggressive drive that time around. Victoria doing exactly what we spoke about at the beginning of this game, staying aggressive.
Yeah, they had a 4th down and 5, turned into a 4th down and 10. Still opted to go for it, and a beautiful pass to Seth Hughes from Zoteropoulos got them into the red zone.
These championship situations, or these final situations, it is all about taking that risk and staying aggressive like we keep saying.
Screen there, number 38. Tamuki Tuikaba, or Tim as he goes by.
Rocking the Michael Jackson look, the one glove.
I think there's a changing kicker, Ma. To get an opportunity to kick off. Goes straight down the middle. Tuikaba. Tuikaba's immediately got a cut there in Victoria. Have they got him? Not until he makes a few more yards. And
40 perhaps.
yeah, sees him get to his own 40. And the Sharks, they'll try to chase down Victoria's first possession.
I think we've seen South Australia this tournament, both in the empty set and in that 2-back set here. It'll be interesting to see which way they go this time around.
Now, where are they going to play Finn Hazel Polkinghorn, he's played defensive end, he plays defensive tackle, he's played over the centre, he's played outside the guard. You can play him anywhere this time. It looks like he's in a bit of a 3-tech position on the left-hand side of the line.
I think it's going to be a great matchup.
And the catch underneath, caught there by Stanbury. Stanbury catching his first touchdown last game. He picks up his first catch here in the second Sharks possession.
You see the matchup here between Mobutu on the right-hand side. I think that's going to be an important place for Victoria to be attacking and applying that pressure on the front side of the quarterback.
And matching up with Holt is Brad Boyd on Hazel at the moment. Nice pocket, delivered nicely out to the outside of the left hash. That's Rogan Beard, I think, making a catch. And I'll tell you what, first thing I want to mention, first 2 snaps, absolutely perfect.
All right, we're spot on this game around. They've been practicing that since we saw them last.
Well, yeah, they went under centre last time. I think it was against Queensland you last saw them. They tried to go under centre with centre Adam Dingley.
Some mixed results. And
Rogan Beard with a catch over the middle, in stride over Bennett, and he takes it in for a 6-pointer for the South Australian Sharks and gets decked in his celebration.
And this is just, I think we found why they've moved away from that under centre look. Coming out of shotgun here, quarterbacks had a great amount of time, great vision, great angles to be able to throw this ball nice and fast, great looking route, high point that ball, and we're off to the races. Celebrating before we get there. Great job.
It's this big outside receiver, hind letter, just not accounting for the weight difference.
He's gotten a bit too excited himself.
And Beard jumps onto the touchdown scoring list on 2-point conversion here. And that pass is well off target, so the score will be tied up here. 6-all early in the first.
He's got a great look here at this play. Rogan Beard, he's off to the races as soon as he hits that early ball. He's gone.
It's his first touchdown of his AGL campaign here in his last game. He's been playing mainly linebacker and running back. By that time, they split him out a wide receiver. They find a gap in the, find a seam in the zone and catches in stride.
And it looks like a new wrinkle on their original formations. Just moving around where those 2 backs are going to be starting, either in the backfield or maybe as 2 tight ends, and now it looks like they've got one of each. Another new wrinkle for Victoria to have to account for in this finals matchup.
And I think we saw plenty of potential from the South Australian offense, but the issue was they couldn't get it going very quickly because of the snaps. They've allowed Sol to move out to right guard, his natural position. They've trusted Dingley to handle the snaps, and they've trusted him in shotgun rather than under centre. And right now it looks like it's paying dividends. Here goes Kenny Liu. Shaking tacklers. It takes more than one to bring him down almost every time, and he gets this, I think, past halfway.
Another great return by this Victorian team. They've got the ability to break or shake any potential tacklers that seem to be coming their way. A good low centre of gravity and being aggressive going into those tackles.
Well, if the 2 offenses continue on their ways, we could see a high-scoring affair here.
Fingers crossed. We're looking forward to something super exciting here for the finals matchups.
Not to beat a dead horse, but I'm throwing back to the game you called for South Australia against, was it the All-Stars or Western Australia, where we had to wait till the final minute of the first half before both offense exploded.
And then the dams just opened.
3 down linemen for South Australia. Soteropoulos calling for the ball. He'll dump it off early. Is that Bennett playing some offense? Nope. That is number 26, Jacob Jepson-Raby.
Kyle Budd, great read here to slide on out, buzz out and control the running back. And that's a great looking tackle.
Galleon, very lucky to stay onside there. Almost getting beaten by the Hudgan. It sounds like that Victoria are definitely mixing up the cadence in this game.
The defensive line and the blitz from South Australia have been so effective this tournament. I think that's going to be Victoria's response to trying to slow them down and keep them on their heels.
And I think that's the perfect answer. One of the downsides of a team that has to blitz and particularly has to rely on timing blitzes is that they can be taken advantage of on the cadence.
Exactly it.
See how good Soteropoulos' cadence game is. This time, quick snap. He's throwing long again, wasting the time, looking for his favourite target, a Maxitov, and he shows you there exactly why he has that title.
Fantastic catch. Way to adjust to that high ball. Way to find that up in the air. Take that on versus the sun, and then what a catch right here.
And look at this. Oh, we missed the celebration there. The nice little Robin Hood celebration after that.
Put that one on a poster for sure.
Gio's going to come down on me for encouraging these celebrations, mate, but I love them. I do.
It's our last day of the tournament. Why not let your hair down a little bit at least?
Lockie Pink in their last game yesterday for Western Australia. He whipped out the entire repertoire of celebrations, scored 3 touchdowns. Soteropoulos is back with 2 backs this time. Montel Wick finally into the game. They'll use him immediately. Look at him bounce off the first tackle, and we'll get close to a first down. A solid 6, maybe 7-yarder run there on his first carry of the day.
That's some good running here by number 12. Mr. Wick it is. Montel Wick just busting and bruising. I like these type of running backs that aren't scared to put their head down and drive for those extra couple of yards.
Does the name Luke Jackson ring a bell to you, mate?
Yes, it does, yes.
Yep. Montel Wick plays on his team and has actually taken a number of carries away from him.
Okay.
Back over in the, of course, in the Monash Warriors. Quite a few Warriors playing in Gridiron Queensland nowadays, in fact. Some play both leagues. And Philly Moatu back in the game. Missed the game against Queensland with a rolled ankle. Certainly not seeing the effects of that today.
He gets initially hit maybe 4 yards into this run and ends up driving for another 4. Some great power running there.
Look, he's listed as a running back on our team list, but he's been playing as the up back. Every touchdown he scores, I'm claiming it's for the fullbacks.
Big man need the love too. I'd say he's a fullback as well.
It's a dying art, mate. It's a dying position.
Exactly right.
I'm going to do my best to keep it as live as long as I can. That is a powerful backfield, Wick and Moiatu. Soteropoulos, quick game, looking out to the left. Nice grab over the top of his head. It's Seth Hughes. That's another touchdown.
That's some athletic ability here. Nice looking hitch route. Sits him 3 yards inside the end zone and a great ball to outside shoulder. And great catch here from Hughes.
Seth Hughes, he's had a lot of big catches in this game, but that is his first touchdown. He certainly deserved it.
Definitely showing off his range here and his adjustability, having to flex for that one. Just that little bit over the back.
Had a huge catch against Queensland. Almost took it in for 6. Got chased down inside the 10. 2 back still on this 2-point conversion. Both the outside guys in as tight ends. There's a fumble on the 2-point conversion. Recovered by South Australia. Pouncing on that is Kyle Budd. So the score remains 12-6. Neither team able to get a 2-point conversion as of yet.
This play looked like it had some potential behind it, but a small mistake in the mesh and in the handoff between the quarterback and the fullback causes that to be no threat to the South Australian Sharks.
Cooper Henshaw actually, I think, climbs up to be the second highest touchdown passer in the tournament with that last touchdown I forgot to mention. And that is helped largely by the fact that he is the outright starter for South Australia. Obviously a lot of other teams rotating between multiple quarterbacks.
I do. I think it's a case of finding the guy who's in rhythm and who's got the right mindset and who's just sort of on point for this game or the situation that you're in at the time.
Ma checking that his team's onside and ready to go. Launches this back to the Sharks. It's Tui Kaba looking for space outside the left hash. Circles around a tackle and brings it back in field. Both teams looking like their special teams units good enough to get them close to halfway each kickoff.
Good patient running here, Tui Kaba. That and the ability to keep breaking tackles and sliding through for a couple of extra yards. He's doing some good jobs on these returns.
Cooper Henshaw with his 6 touchdown passes. looking to potentially add a 7th. Of course, exploded into the AGL with 3 touchdown passes to Sam Young on day 1. And he'll throw deep again. He's got a receiver outside the left numbers who brings it down, loses it after the whistle, and I think that was registering a catch, Jack Kelton.
Great play design. Drink brings all those linebackers up with the threat of that run and play action, and then we just go straight over the top. Cornerback gets caught sneaking a look, and we managed to get over the top with a great ball, great catch, first down.
And let me maybe use this opportunity to educate people new to the game. They might be wondering, well, he lost the ball, it doesn't count. He caught it, made a football move, thus making the catch legal, and the ground can't force a fumble, so therefore he's down and the fumble is fine. Henshaw pumps and has to buy time. He'll get taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Flomo and Liu combining for a sack on that play.
I think a little bit of hesitation here causes, you can see number 8 there, Sam Young wide open over the middle. Maybe just a wrong angle this time around. We couldn't get the ball off to him, but he'll be letting his quarterback know, I think, for next time around. That play's there.
Flomo has been one of the most versatile defenders in this tournament. I've seen him defend in the deep third effectively where he is now. I've seen him defend in the nickel in the alley. I've seen him in the box making tackles. You can pretty much plug and play him almost anywhere in the secondary. And they'll attack early, and it's another long completion made to another new receiver. That is Caleb Skipworth.
These receivers are really showing off what they can do here today. That's at least the 3rd or 4th big play we've had from receivers on both sides. They're having a great day for making the quarterback look really good today.
And I can't help but notice, we're seeing the full potential of the South Australian offense come to play because the snaps are a night and day comparison to day 1.
Exactly right. You don't have to worry about these little errors, these little mistimings, these things that are going to affect your play. They've obviously managed to get rid of those things with a couple of chats or a couple of little walkthroughs or trainings before this game. Now we can really focus on the timing and the placement of where these deep balls are going to go.
And you're seeing, Cooper Henshaw having a nice day so far because he's comfortable. He can make his reads on time, probably the way they train.
Really getting into a nice rhythm here today, and it started with the short balls, that short slant earlier to, I can't remember who it was for the moment.
It was Rogan Beard.
Rogan Beard it was. Great slant, short throw that turned into a big gain and a touchdown. You've got to be feeling comfortable if you're Henshaw right now.
And we've seen a first time out of the day, this time taken by Victoria after the big play. You saw Coach Brian Calloway talking to his defense. I had a couple of chats with him throughout the tournament. One of the loveliest guys around the league. Knows his football, loves his football, and is very passionate about his football. He really brings an energy to this team.
I bet. You can see that in this defensive team, this defensive line especially for Victoria. They look menacing.
Coach Noonan describes me pre-tournament as someone who's been a really good sounding board for him as the head coach. And a short give, they'll give it. This to Keane. Ben Keane looking for touchdown number 3 on the tournament. Can't get it. The Victoria defense stands up.
I thought this one was dead on contact, but keeping those legs driving and riding. We've got offensive linemen helping out momentum. We fall forward for about 2 or 3 in this instance when we could have been stopped for 0.
(12-6). South Australia trying to at least tie the ball game up. Henshaw in the pistol. Will give to Keane once more. Keane hit immediately by his own player, but that was Hazel Polkinghorn pushing that blocker back into that running back.
Okay, he's going to be kicking himself here. We nearly see this hole open right up. Brad Boyd creating the space. Just a little bit unfortunate that we're having to trip over the legs there and a little bit of a mix-up.
3rd down and goal from the 3. Henshaw looking for the flat, trying to hit Tui Kaba. Flomo on the coverage. That'll bring up 4th down. Haven't seen South Australia attempt a field goal. If they've all been practicing it, now wouldn't be a bad time to whip it out.
I think with the success that quarterback's been having today, I think we're going to be seeing a more aggressive offense here by South Australia. They're going to go for it, I think, for this next play and try and get the ball in the end zone.
Henshaw. Low snap. He rolls to the right. He's got Tuikaba open. He drills him and hits him. And South Australia tie things up. That's Tuikaba getting on the score sheet.
Henshaw saw him early, but just wasn't in a position to throw that ball just yet. And you see the recognition. Eventually he gets his eyes up, gets rid of that ball, and we're in the end zone for an easy completion.
Like Beard, Tuikaba getting on the scoring list, which was previously dominated by Sam Young for South Australia. Henshaw managed to get a few more receivers involved so far early in this game.
Despite the bobble.
Oh, and there's another bobble, and there's a tough hit. Taking him down there was Sione Foliaki.
It's only their second one here today, but we see just these minor timing problems that can happen when that ball's on the ground. There might have been an opportunity there to put that ball in the end zone for the 2 points, but not when we're busy picking it up off the ground.
Have we pumped up the tyres too early, mate?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe we've come out a little bit too strong. I think it'll be just about settling ourselves here on the sideline and remembering we got 4 quarters to this game.
Trying to spread some love, and all I'm doing is spreading some mocha. 12-all, a tied ball game here towards the back end of the first quarter. And I think we very well will be able to confirm with you if that time on your screen is accurate.
24 points in this game, and we're still in the first quarter. These offenses have had some really quick and explosive drives. Been real effective and efficient here.
Just for the viewers at home, can confirm 2 minutes 40 is the official time on the clock. This will bounce. Montel Wick will pick it up. He's dangerous with a full head of steam. How many tackles can he break? Lowers his shoulder, still running, still pumping the legs. And once again, we find an offense starting around the 50.
Great job to be able to reduce that field size for your offense. He's doing a great job in returning this ball.
And here come Victoria, which looked just as formidable as South Australia, particularly in the air. They had a slight hiccup on their first drive, which brought them back to 4th down. But on 4th and 10, they launched a huge pass down the right-hand sideline, hitting Hughes for a big completion. Soteropoulos is back, looking to emulate with similar success.
Soteropoulos has big playability, and so do these receivers. I think that we can expect more of these long balls down the field behind this very capable offensive line, providing plenty of time.
Easily the biggest offensive line in the tournament.
I would say that without a doubt.
And it's Wick jumping behind the line. Very Le'Veon Bell-like. Now he's breaking tackles. Who in the secondary can dare to bring him down? Wick brings it past the 30. He's down to the South Australian 29.
Gain of about 12 or 13 there. That's some really great running. Way to break through any of these arm tackles. South Australia really going to have to break down, go in with a body tackle to make sure we bring him down. Such power out of those legs.
First and 10 following the Wick first down carry. Jepson Raby back in the game.
At some point here, I think we should be expecting some sort of play action. The danger of Wick is definitely going to bring those linebackers and hopefully defensive backs down, and we are definitely within range for a long ball here from Soteropoulos.
And this play will be whistled dead. As we, there we go. So we might be dealing with a false start.
Pilot snap, false start on the offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That is Dakota Alcaraz being pinged for a false start.
Not necessarily what you want down here.
Well, there hasn't actually been all that many penalties, especially in comparison to the average amount of penalties in each game for the tournament. It's been pretty disciplined so far.
Very good. I think these refs are really wanting these guys to just get on with the game here and let it be a little bit smoother.
Hughes in the left slot. They'll give it to Jepson Raby. Jepson Raby beats the first defender, cuts back nicely, beats Beard. He's still going, squirting through the line, and it won't be until the safeties can take him down. Back to back, good runs by the running back collection of the Victorian Eagles.
Well, this 5-yard penalty won't really affect them this time. There's enough yards there for a first down.
The joys of playing half an hour early. Our glare shield is half an hour away from our screen. 12 apiece. Victoria looking to break the deadlock. Looking left, surveying the options. A dart over the middle to Maxitov from Soteropoulos. A thing of beauty.
That's some great patience there by Soteropoulos, sitting back and waiting. Plenty of time from this offensive line, giving their quarterback enough time to survey the field, find the open man, and it just so happens to be right within his range in the middle of the end zone. Great touchdown.
Maxitov there, adding his third touchdown. And this is the angle he wants, I know, because this is the camera he pointed to. And there it is. Flexing for all the folk back home.
Great job.
I think a lot of these teams, yeah, I know Queensland has a luxury of having live stream week to week, but a lot of these teams not used to operating with a live stream, and not a live stream with multiple cameras. So they've, by the final day, they know where the cameras are. They know where to celebrate.
Exactly right. It's an exciting new element to add to the game.
Oh, and speaking about exciting new element, a speed option there from Soteropoulos. We haven't seen a whole lot out of Victoria. They whip it out here on day 5, and they finally convert here. The score stretches out to an 8-point lead. Victoria lead 20-12.
Victoria really has this explosive ability to get their way down the field. Soteropoulos doing a great job to be able to find open receivers. And when you're running behind those running back combo of Wick,
Jepson Raby,
they're both extremely dangerous players coming out of the backfield, and that triple threat that you're getting in the backfield, it's sort of difficult to know which way they're going to go.
Now we've seen fullbacks take carries for the Eagles. Obviously Jepson Raby, Wick, Philly Moatu, and of course Dylan Carroll, who got the opening touchdown for the day.
There's multiple options in this backfield, and it just makes it that much more difficult for this defense to try and account for who's the most dangerous man this time around.
Mar's back, and Mar puts it up. Line that drive to Ikaba, bobbles it on first attempt at the 20, and will try a spin move. Clearly the circle button was broken, and he'll set up his team at about his own 21.
He'll definitely be blaming the turf on that manoeuvre, but this time I think Victoria are doing some really great job. They've already scored above their tournament average, scoring about 16 points per game, so we're above that now. Their goal here will be to keep South Australia, obviously, from scoring any more points. They've let in 19 points per game prior to this one. We're right on track, about there now. See if we can make an improvement and keep these guys out.
Cooper Hanshaw brings his offense back in the field. They have a bit more work to do here. Their last drives have started closer to halfway. This is a miscommunication there, aiming for a slant on the left-hand side, but it sails on him. 2nd down and 10. Now I'm hearing we are prepping an interview on the sideline from one of the All-Stars assistants. Stand by for that. 20-12 now, as Henshaw continues to try to keep the touchdown streak alive for South Australia, but has to evade a sack early, and Hazel Pockendorn forces him to his Victorian brothers on the play there. 51 and 20. 21, I think it was. Making the play.
Caliph Jama there, at least one of the men, number 52, who managed to get into the backfield. There were 2, maybe 3 people back there, so a little bit of miscommunication, I think, by the offensive line on who's got who.
Matthew Tafuga there, who's back in the game after serving his suspension. And a designed rollout here He'll try to hit the flat, and after a couple of juggles, he brings it in, Stanbury, and takes it out of bounds around their own 25.
Shorten up the sticks here to a 4th and possibly 6.
Yeah, they are deep in their territory there. I'd imagine they're going to send their punting unit out. And I think we are... Well, this punt takes place as we come to the end of the first quarter. Perfect timing. As the two teams trade sides, we're going to head down to the sideline for an interview, I think, with Kyle Reynolds from the All-Stars.
G'day everybody, Coach Hollywood. Oh, down on the sideline here. Oh, it's very vibrating here. It's a delay type thing. It's really good. Thank you for that. G'day everybody. I'm talking with Coach Kyle, DB's coach for the All-Stars. Coach, tell us, you had your final win yesterday after the last tournament. This tournament, how'd it feel?
Oh, absolutely amazing. Especially, these lads have fought all week, coming together, a day before their first game. A lot of these kids hadn't really played 11-a-side, coming from leagues that played 9-a-side, 7-a-side, that kind of thing. So, for them to come together the way that they have, it's an amazing feeling.
Excellent. And the coaches also too, what did it take for you guys? I mean, you're from everywhere as well. How did you guys communicate? Was it huddle? Was it, how did you all get together?
So it was mostly Facebook and a group. Our defensive coordinator Lockie is putting up a lot of videos on Facebook. As you know, Matt Long and I have known each other for about 10 years now. So we always talk, and we got this together. And honestly, it was just Facebook throwing up playbooks and constant communication. Each of us we're working with our lads where we are, and hope that it fits when we come together, and it really did. So.
Awesome, thanks, Coach. And before we go, what's your pick for today?
Oh, look, if South Australia can get those snaps together and keep it consistent, I reckon they'll push Victoria, but I think the experience of the Victorian team might come out on top.
Thanks, guys. Kenny, back to you.
And thank you, Coach Hollywood and Kyle Reynolds, for your words on the sideline. How about that? Sideline interviews in between quarters there as the punt is launched down from South Australia, and flags are down for the first play of the second quarter. But thank you, Hollywood, for being our sideline reporter today. He's out scouting, but in between, handling an interview or two.
Very multi-talented and bringing that great little extra element to today's presentation, letting everyone at home get involved and sort of find out what's going on the sidelines here as well.
Great work there by live streaming Brisbane to tee that up. I think Paul Mills, the genius behind that.
During the play, got a low block on the offense. Sorry, personal foul. Low block on the offense. 15 yards to be out to the end of the run. First down.
Now, for anyone who's watched American football for more than a little bit, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, you can cut block, that's fine. Unfortunately, the rules dictate you cannot do that on special teams. On special teams, where the ball could be anywhere, everyone's running everywhere in multiple directions. It's just a safety issue there, so therefore cut blocks or low blocks below the waist are outlawed whilst the ball's being kicked.
Back in the day, today, we've slowly gotten to this point about player safety. Back in the day, there weren't these rules that dictated at what angles you could come and block somebody from, and it really ended up in some gruesome injuries. So that's one of those ones that you really need to keep your eyes out for, and don't necessarily like to be seeing that too often when you're in a game.
Dane, I can probably count a good 4 people at least in this stadium who've just given you the stink eye for trying to use the word back in the day.
I'm getting old now.
You're still a young pup.
A bit eager there.
And things starting to slow down a bit. Maybe the quarter time break for both of these teams was the worst thing that could have happened. They were on a roll.
They were, both teams really getting it going, but this time around, small errors.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 61 the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Small blip on Vitali's tournament, has been a very, very dominant run blocker throughout his last 3 games.
We've mentioned it before, but the size of this offensive line for Victoria has to be threatening if you're on the defense. And
this offensive line wouldn't look out of place in the men's comp, the men's AGL.
Not at all.
Here's a gun. Hickleton now joining the list of ball carriers for Victoria. Has proven to be very elusive, has the ability to shake the first tackler, as many of these Victorian running backs can do.
Spoke about the size of this Victorian team, but the Sharks using, I think, a bit of speed to get through in the backfield. 3, 4, 5 players in the backfield causing problems that time.
Rossi can prove to be a very effective blitzer, whether it's from the outside or inside. He's still talking about the 2-point conversion he stopped on day 1 to win them the game. It was a nice play off the edge.
Some plays stick with you longer than others, and especially if you know that that's a big play for your team. I'm sure he'll remember that for a couple more years to come.
Next break and play, I'm going to be coming to you for your play that sticks in your head. Better start thinking. Soteropoulos calls for the ball. He's under pressure, keeps his eyes downfield. How about that for pocket presence? But he's intercepted by Kai Field. Kai Field looking down, space down the left-hand sideline. Hickleton will run him out of bounds, but there's the first turnover of the game.
Great job on defense, watching that quarterback from start to finish.
Number 10, Jai Field.
Jai Field being able to pick that one off. Great pressure there from the South Australian D-line or from the blitz. Soteropoulos just really forcing that one, I think. Wasn't quite prepared to throw the right ball, and any minor misaccuracy or lack of accuracy is going to get picked off by these DBs from South Australia.
I'll tell you what though, if you take away the second half of that and you just focus on Soteropoulos' footwork and his pocket presence there, I would have thought that was a 6-pointer.
You know, the effect that you can have from a defensive point of view, if it's not exactly as these offenses have been practicing through the week, then usually that's enough to sort of put that ball 5 inches, 6 inches to the right or left, and that's all you need.
Henshaw dumps us off to Beard, his first catch since his 6-pointer, and he'll pick up a yard or 2 after that. Tackled there by Feltus.
South Australia staying with some of their base plays here, quick and easy passes out to the flats, trying to get in a one-on-one situation and saying our athletes are better than yours, and let's see what we can do.
It really is just an athletes in space type of era in football now, isn't it?
It is, with this spread offense. I think that what everyone's trying to do as we go incomplete there to the running back.
Victoria sent a heavy blitz. Ben Keane was open in the flat, and it falcons him in the head.
Right sort of play call, you know, quick, short pass, getting rid of that ball before the blitz can net there and affect the quarterback. This time around, we just end up dropping the ball and unable to take advantage.
He's back on the line in the left slot. He'll hit while he throws, and it turns into a pick. Tarawa! No agility there, just pure strength, and he's still going. Takes it inside Sharks territory and will be eventually downed just shy of the Sharks 40. Powerful running after the intercept.
We're talking about the pressure on the quarterback here, and he's in a position he doesn't want to be in. That's thrown high and behind. And that's picked off for a great play. We thought he was down. We've got 1, 2, 3 missed tackles, some great blocks up front. And then it turns into a bit of a scrum here to bring this man down.
I'm trying to find the man who hit Henshaw as he threw. I think it was one of the 40s. So we'll see if we can't get another look at it, because this is really what causes the intercept. And I think flag is down. We have an offensive lineman heading to the sideline for South Australia. There's a couple of the supporters on screen. Deliberating now. It might be a hold, or I don't really hope it's not roughing the passer, because it was a great hit.
I like the pressure there from the defense.
And it's Kenny Liu.
After play, I got unnecessary roughness. Number 33 on the return team, 15 yards, first down. No.
Well, it is post turnover, so the important news is Victoria will keep the ball. But OJ Flomo.
This is the first USC for number 33 blue. Okay.
Bit of a scrum afterwards. We didn't see it on screen there. There must have been a bit of extracurricular activity going on.
Rough and tumble in the scrum that we saw on the back end of that play.
But it wasn't unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. 2 of those will get you thrown.
Yeah, ball's out, great pressure.
And we're going to see if we got a bit of an extended replay here on screen for those watching at home. And honestly, I mean, unless it's something that happens here, and he's just helping a teammate up from what I can see. I mean, there was a bit of a shoulder while things were going, but that was just while the, you know, while the rock and roll, for a lack of a better term, was happening.
I don't see anything too sinister in there. Obviously, the referees have got a better angle than we do.
They've made the call. Down on Union, obviously frustrated about a number of things right now. Keeping his cool. And we might be having another officials meeting here. No, not good. What? Anyways, I'll update you if anything derives from that little discussion. In any case, 1st and 10 for Victoria. They'll try to dump it off early. The pass is almost intercepted by defensive back Levi Hurst on that play.
South Australian Sharks really waiting on that flat throw to the running back this time around. It has been the option for Soteropoulos a couple of times. I think the Sharks have figured that out here, at least for the moment.
Leading 20 points to 12 and in possession. Trying to stretch it to a 2-possession lead. 8 points currently clear of South Australia. Boyd now in the slot. Turner's also motioned to that side of the field too. He'll run the flat and he'll be the target. Catches it in stride. He's got speed if he can break away from the tackler. But Jai Field takes him out of bounds.
Now that's another great ball there from Soteropoulos here to throw that ball out and in front of number 1, the receiver. We're able to turn that up for another 4 or 5 yards here. That's a great play.
And we're seeing injury timeout now. I think it is a Victorian player receiving some attention.
Looks like Seth Hughes, maybe.
He's had, particularly towards the back end of the tournament, has really come into his own. Had a great game against Queensland. Grabbed a couple catches against the All-Stars as well. Obviously scoring a touchdown earlier today on a nice little 3-yard grab. And while we take a little break and play, we'll once again revisit the tournament that has been. You can see Queensland's journey to 3-0, Victoria's first victory 14-10 over New South Wales. South Australia, they also registered their first victory that day too, 22 points to 20. Talked about how Alex Rossi still living up that 2-point conversion stop.
Game he won't forget.
And later on we'll take a look at day 2. Another blitz from South Australia. Wick taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Galley, and then we're seeing flags thrown in. Wick immediately shoots up, pulling his face mask, so this could be going against South Australia.
Ethan Galley straight into the backfield here, blitzing through that 8 gap, and he's the man responsible, unfortunately, for the face mask.
He knows it too immediately.
Personal foul, face mask, number 71 on the defence. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, most 99% of the time, those long arms are an extreme advantage. There he saw it as a disadvantage. Getting up, grabbing the face mask of Wick, can't do that.
Exactly right. And we've just lost sight of where he wanted to make contact. Had a bit of a reach out for the first thing to find, and unfortunately this time it was the face mask.
And once again, recapping day 2, Queensland 49-0 over South Australia. That was a big learning curve, I hear Patrick Carroll talking about. Victoria had a big win against the All-Stars that day, 38-14. And on day 3, New South Wales, one touchdown over the Stars was enough to get them. South Australia in the background there. South Australia picking up their win against Western Australia. And Queensland 35 points to 6 over Victoria.
A lot of the action of that game happening in the second half.
Yes, it did. Quick throw here to Maxitov. And unless Maxitov grows another 7 feet, he was never going to catch that one.
Joe break screen, a good idea here versus the soft coverage by the cornerbacks. But this time, Soteropoulos not able to keep the ball down and just lets that one sail on him a little bit.
Getting some coaching messages from Coach Rowe. And me messages right now, even when he's on the sideline. Can't help himself. Coaching up a storm.
Multi-talented that guy is.
Second down and 10. Simon Soteropoulos launching down the field, looking for Boyd. One too many wheat beaks in that throw. This will bring up 3rd and 10. But really, we're in 2-down territory. I'm pretty sure Victoria will be happy to go for it on 4th down.
It's not a terrible placed ball, but we had a defensive safety waiting there in coverage. So maybe not the best choice on this play this time around from Soteropoulos. Good coverage there by the Sharks.
And once again, recapping today's game and the game ahead. Yesterday was the fight for 5th place, and the All-Stars won that. Right now, battling for a bronze medal is South Australia and Victoria. Victoria in the lead for that one, and of course, 12:45, we will see the national championship. Here goes Montel Wick in some space. He'll outrun Field and will get another 1st down.
Great penetration by Ethan Galley again through those A-gaps. But Wick, good enough athlete to put his foot in the ground, head to the outside, put a bit of a shake move on that contained player and turn that into a positive gain.
Running the play back in is Simon Soteropoulos, SS. Jonah Hickleton now lining up behind him. He'll get a carry. Immediately follow the box of Philly Moatu. Cut it back to the left-hand hash. Now he's off to the sideline and will be taken out of bounds closer to the 10, but that's back-to-back 1st downs on the ground for the Victorian Eagles.
Seems to be a theme for these backs. It's usually the 3rd man in that gets to make this tackle, and you see the ability of these running backs to go skip number 1 and bust through number 2. It takes that 3rd man to come along to bring him down.
No trouble getting downfield, the Eagles. Out of the 2 teams, and maybe this will be key come the second half, whilst both seeming to keep up with each other on the scoreboard, Victoria definitely the more dynamic of the 2 offenses.
Absolutely. You get a lot of options with the offensive line this big. Plenty of time if you want to pass the ball, and plenty of gaps if you want to be running behind these big boys.
This time Wick's at fullback, paired with Hickleton. They'll be there to protect Simon Soteropoulos, and this will be a throw to the end zone. Touchdown, Turner! The Eagles extend their lead, 26-12.
11 yards out. This is a great call for Soteropoulos. Some simple hitch routes. He gets to pick a one-on-one matchup that he likes, manages to look off the safety initially, comes back to the backside, and great ball that's caught in the front corner of the end zone.
A bunch of long catches, but that's Turner's 2nd touchdown for the tournament. That is Soteropoulos' 5th pass for a touchdown. Jake Caruso now in at fullback. He'll get an attempt to try and convert here, and he'll get it. More fullbacks, more love.
Slow and steady wins the race.
And big assist on the play to number
Doesn't seem to be
53
moving
Ezra
very
Lee.
fast. But it doesn't
We'll
look like
ignore-
he's stopping either.
We'll ignore the old aiding the runner rule, as me and Coach Hollywood talked in day one. It's not a rule anymore. You can get carried into the end zone, no dramas.
No, it's just doing it's falling. That's what he was doing, it was falling.
And you can see our sideline cams there. Our vision from the sideline provided by our director, Paul Mills. Jumped out to do some of the hard work. I think it's also partially so we can avoid the midday sun later. You can jump back in the booth. You see some of our more experienced officials, Paul Master and company, having a chat, discussing the rules. After the 2-point conversion, the score is 28-12. Victoria, with 7 minutes 40 remaining in the half, take the first 2-score lead. Dewey Carbo returns again.
A great return. I think we're at the 30-yard line. 36.
I'm Ron Burgundy. First down. Ball, as we're seeing confirmed now, on the 36. Sharks offense back. We're shut out last drive. Tuikaba
Late to the party.
He'll jump in at tight end, or more of a wing back position really. He'll run to the flat. Under pressure is Henshaw. Henshaw trying to evade Finn. Hazel Polkinghorn. He gets his big paws on him and takes him down.
And that bobbled ball just causing a couple more problems again. Not what we want from the Sharks to get an effective drive this time around.
I'm trying to talk about anyone else other than Finn. Hazel Polkinghorn, but he keeps making plays. Every coach I've spoken to about him has some sort of NFL D-lineman comparison about him.
And the hard thing is that they keep moving him around. We like to see the matchup with Mabutu.
And here he is again with the rest of his D-line.
Speaking of the devil, it was Mabutu here in charge of stopping number 99 to make this play, but just too good this time around.
There's a fumble on this play as well. The Victorian defense running down, and he knows when they're talking about him. He makes a play forcing a fumble. JJ Watt-like. But I tell you what, the rest of the D-line closed that pocket real quick. Turnover. Victoria back on the ball.
Hazel Polkinghorn, great looking play there to come through from that front side. Get rid of that block. You see a right side of your screen here. Fights inside, causing that pressure, and that's a fumble for sure. Butu just getting off to the wrong foot and not being able to make that play that time around.
Against Queensland, it was a race between him and big Jacob Marone for a fumble in the end zone to try and pick up a defensive touchdown. Marone beating his teammate on that play. Got on the scoreboard against Queensland. Hickleton with plenty of space, still not touched when he's 5 yards into the backfield. Great blocking there from the big boys up front.
Great movement initially. Again, South Australia only have 3 linemen with their hands on the ground here defensively, and with those 5 big offensive linemen to make space, you get holes just like that. Great gain for Victoria. Now, last time we were in this position, Soteropoulos looked for those hitch routes, definitely in range for one of those medium passes, and put some pressure here on the Sharks. Get that ball in the end zone one more time.
Kieran Turner was the target last time, not on the field at the moment. Boyd's in the left slot though. They'll go to Max Titov. Oh, bringing it in one-handed. In the field to play. Gets them close. A nice catch there from Anton Maxtov.
And here with a nice corner route or a nice sail route. The ball in the right place. Outside and away. Close to the sideline. And away from any potential hazards from those DBs on the inside.
And look, he's listed as a wide receiver, but I'll tell you what, he really has probably played just as many snaps at tight end with a hand in the dirt next to the line of scrimmage. He is, if we're going to call him a tight end, he has been the standout tight end of the tournament.
These are the formations that I like to see that Victoria run. Anything with a tight end, anything with a fullback, I'm definitely paying attention.
I won't be surprised if he makes it. Back to Outback, I'm just checking his age now. Good chance to be playing
Wide open spaces.
tight end, and we had a wide open number 14. Massimo Albanese has been the primary kick returner for a lot of the games. Had him in the end zone, couldn't quite find him.
And Soteropoulos doing a great job of looking off these defenders. Stares one way with his three-step drop, brings his eyes back around to find the target. And this time around, we're just a little bit off on where we wanted that ball to be.
Yeah, he nailed a good point there. He had to look off Kai Cooper, gave him plenty of space in the middle. Final pieces didn't come together for him though. 3rd down now and 4. Can convert to a fresh set without having to score. They'll give it to Jonah. Hickleton beats the blitzing defender, shaking and baking. Has got the aforementioned first down as he fights for a touchdown. He will be down, but they will have a fresh set of downs to work with.
And that's some smart play by the running back here. Again, he's managed to miss the first defender. We put a nice little shake on defender number 2. And we managed to get beyond the first down well and truly. It's a great job there by Hickleton. A little stop and go move, a little stutter, and that's enough for him to sneak by on that outside and get that first down. I think you got to stay with your run here. You're doing such a great job moving the ball on the ground behind this low line.
With a 1st and goal situation. Ball on the 3. The play action pass, roll out to the left. Looking for Boyd, getting Boyd. Touchdown Victoria. Soteropoulos' 4th touchdown throw for the day.
Great play design, good play action fake. And we end up flooding that left-hand side of the field. There's at least 3 options over there for him. And short, middle, and deep for Soteropoulos. And finds the open man on that play. Great job.
4 touchdown passes, 4 different wide receivers. 2 of which getting their first touchdowns of the tournament. That's Connor Boyd's first tutty. They'll trust Hickleton to get the 2-point conversion, and he'll deliver. Great blocking on the left edge. 2-point conversion successful.
You just see that the movement this offensive line is getting. Galley not even in his stance just yet, and I think that's a big factor, man. Perhaps these Sharks slowing down just a little bit. Victoria's quick snaps taking advantage of that delay.
34-12 the score is now. We have a Victorian player down.
Isaac Tui seems to have hurt the back of his leg that time around. I think it was Hinkleton on his run to score that 2 points, put his head down to get in the end zone, and might have clipped the back knee or the calf of Isaac Tui.
See both the benches in the last couple of shots. There's Liam Bunn, who scored the first defensive touchdown of the tournament against WA. Soon after him went Jai Field in the following defensive drive. Isaac Tui's getting carried off now. And here's more of our final results. Right now it's 34-12. 36-12, sorry, the current score. That's what our graphics suggest. There's Big Tui getting carried off. Looks like he's doing it largely under his own power though.
Hopefully just some discomfort, nothing too serious. It's certainly not what you want to see for the big boys.
And there we go with the updated scores. Yesterday, once again, Stars looking up 5th place. And Victoria currently lead 36-12 over the South Australian Sharks here in the battle for the bronze medal.
Victoria doing a great job offensively, scoring here above their average for this tournament, so they've certainly turned up on the back end.
Ma drives it down to the 20, picked up by Sam Young. Surprised we haven't been able to call his name yet.
Ooh.
Tom Biggs, also playing to the whistle. And then also a South Australian player come flying in after that as well.
Quick feed on this return. I like to look at that little jump cut shimmy move that we saw there initially.
Good there.
And I think it's really important that South Australia here really get themselves going here on this drive. We've had a couple of drives that have been so far unfruitful. We really want to get ourselves back in a rhythm if we're South Australia and get ourselves back into this game. Victoria have been quite successful, scoring more or less on every drive that they've had. It's South Australia's turn here to see if they can't find a rhythm on this drive. First down.
And players in motion, trying to double up.
Speed option, great
This
play
is
here.
Keane, he's racing the sideline, stepped out of bounds around the 30.
Speed option taking on or waiting for that first man to apply pressure to the quarterback. Try and pitch that ball out or distribute it out to the next man and see if we can't get some wide open space here. We're looking here at a 3-by-1 formation from South Australia. Trips to the top of your screen. Ooh dear. A lot of pressure here by this Victorian Eagles. Roll out by design, but we force a bit of pressure here on the pass. Not exactly where we want to be. It's that kick return a little bit from earlier. Great stiff step move initially. Great elusiveness, and the finish on that play, not exactly what we want to see, but nonetheless. Again, 3-by-1 here for South Australia. Another bobble in this drive. The quarterback Cooper Henshaw forced to just pick that ball up and try and make what he can out of the bobbled snap this time around. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Tim Tuikaba. He's come in to play the quarterback position. Just a couple of subs coming in and out for either team. And Tuikaba might be a little bit out of breath here. Hopefully that's all it is. Looks like he's getting a sub this time around. And we're here on 4th down, 4th and 4. South Australia preparing for a punt as the final players make their substitutions. And the whistle's blown, we're ready to rock and roll here. South Australia with the punt. Short snap, causes a bobble, slight delay, but good kick, a good punt. Drive that ball just beyond the 35-yard line for Victoria.
Enjoy being in the deep end there, mate?
Oh, yes and no. It's just sort of having a conversation with myself over here, so we're doing okay.
And we just saw one of the rare punts we've seen today.
The offenses here on both sides have been going fairly well, driving up the field, but I think it's unfortunate that we had to get to that situation for South Australia. They really wanted to score, get something going on that last drive.
Well, Victoria's defense now standing up with their offense mounting a lead. Defense starting to answer the call as well. It's been not since the first quarter, earlier in the first quarter, since South Australia been able to get into the Victorian end zone.
Victoria can continue this momentum that they've had all game. We might be in for a bit of a blowout here. I don't want to speak too early, but the offense definitely seems to be on point.
Well, Victoria certainly have they're playing with something to prove, I should say, really. Certainly believe they should be competing in the game at 12:45 today. Soteropoulos giving it to Jonah Hickleton. Nice spin move behind the line. Throws a stiff arm in there too. Won't be for a game. Matter of fact, it will be about a short loss, but geez, it could have been worse, and he handles that potential loss with flair.
It's 99 elusiveness right there if you're a fan of Madden, but a great run. Unfortunately, that only went for 1 yard, so about 15 yards run and 1 yard gain this time around, maybe 2.
They're marking it as a 1 yard gain, 2nd and 9. Following the nice move. As we approach the 2-minute warning, Victoria have 2 timeouts, South Australia with all 3. Soteropoulos throws and hits Hughes. Amidst a couple of Sharks defenders, coming in and cleaning up is Chad Perkins.
Great way to finish there by Perkins, but looks like Soteropoulos saw it there, but a little bit of pressure, but a great looking ball just over the linebacker here, Kyle Budd, doing his best to get that height and try and make a play on that ball. That's a well thrown ball and drop right in the space between the 2 defenders.
2-minute warning, the official 2-minute warning happening there. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. As a receiver, you just know it's a bit of a scary time when you catch the ball, you stood up, and you can just feel the footsteps coming towards you.
You can feel those guys on the way, and if you can't feel them, you'll feel them in a minute.
And this is another run. Look at the agility of Jonah Hickleton. Gets past the 40 now. Will get stopped at the South Australian 31.
Keeping with that theme, Hickleton doing a good job of skipping the first person right there, breaking through the arm tackles and waiting for number 2 and 3 to come and finish the job.
Another one of these backs with plenty of agility.
They've got plenty of options, Victoria. They've got the hit-em-up style and the physical style of Wick. You've got Hickleton out there that can be quite fleet-footed and elusive. And that's the combo they're going out there with right now.
There's Paul Hutchinson, their centre, snapping back to Soteropoulos. And have they managed to get them offside? I saw movement on both sides, but I think I saw the Sharks cross over first. But let's see what the officials saw.
Ezra EU might have just jumped early on that one.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 53 in the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You call it, Ezra U. I think I have a tendency to assume the defenses jump back in the false start all tournament. And apparently I've been wrong.
Well, it's a fine line, whether it's the offensive lineman jumping or is it the offensive lineman setting up to protect himself from what's an incoming D lineman. It's hard to see. But this time it looks like the referee's got it right.
Good protection for Soteropoulos, but the coverage is equal to the task. The pass was intended for Massimo Albanese.
Staying aggressive here, looking deep here on first down.
4:15 remaining. Victoria, the team in possession. Not only trying to score here, but probably trying to score with minimal time on the clock.
Don't be surprised if Victoria stay aggressive here, think long ball.
Well, watch for Kieran Turner, the near side wide receiver. Here is their deep threat. He's going deep and he's throwing for Turner. Oh, miscommunication there. Clearly some sort of option route for the receiver, and the receiver was not on the same page as the quarterback.
The quarterback's got him running some sort of go route, some sort of straight ahead route, and Turner here's running that post on that 45-degree angle. They weren't matching up this time.
And obviously, you know, in a lot of plays, the receiver will only have his route, but in sometimes there's automatic checkoffs or options, as they call them, where if they see something, they run somewhere else, and you're counting on your quarterback and receiver reading the same read. Obviously not in that case, Coach.
Exactly right, and I think the hard thing for installing those sorts of advanced bit of playbook is really the time that you have allocated in these 10-day or 5-day tournaments.
Oh, quick pressure. Soteropoulos forced to just throw that safely away. That'll bring up 4th down. The Sharks might have earned themselves an opportunity before halftime here. It's 4th down with the clock stopped. South Australia still have their full wallet of timeouts.
And that's what we were mentioning it earlier. If we don't have the time to practice these things on the way through this tournament or even before, and obviously we're relying on the knowledge of your players in the tournament, and sometimes we're just not on the same page, and that's why practice is so important in these situations. Looking for a South Australian stop here. Put a stamp in this momentum from the Eagles.
Soteropoulos is back. Victoria in no mood to try and punt this away. Will they go back to the same play? They'll go to the left here. That looked like a PI to me, and it looks like the referees agree. Albanese, the intended receiver, bumped off his route.
Caleb Skipworth is going to get called for the DPI just this time around.
I think you'll find I have given you a different team list there. There's 2 12s on defense. There'll be Jordan Checker.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah, Jordan Checker on the defense.
Yeah, there's 2 12s, one on offense, one on defense.
Gotcha, my mistake. Jordan Checker here getting blamed for that defensive pass interference.
Pass interference on the defense, number 24, 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Rip it on Jordan Checker when it's Levi Hurst getting pinged.
Either way, I think a little bit incidental, but you know, unfortunate call for the Sharks this time around, and a second chance here for the Victorian Eagles to try and get this one in the end zone.
Meanwhile, you got the 2 12s going, hey.
I've got 2 people I'm stabbing in the back this time.
Rossi has blitzed the loss off the edge, but he will stay in coverage here after the 1st down via penalty. That was a great concept. Had Jonah Hickleton open on the wheel route against the man just penalised, Levi Hurst, but leads it a bit too far.
Empty formation gets all these defenders one-on-one with receivers, and Soteropoulos does his best to find a one-on-one matchup that he likes, and unfortunately we just couldn't hit the target this time around.
It's one of those situations where you come back to the huddle and the quarterback's like, hey man, I thought you were faster.
Just be there. Just be there.
Boyd, who scored a touchdown earlier, he's at the left side. Turner's outside him. Turner's lined up everywhere. Now he's in motion. He'll join Cody Sproul on the right side of the field. They'll run speed option to the left to Hickleton. A little head fake, a little how you doing. That'll bring him close to the 15. Under 40 seconds will be on the clock once they get this next play off.
The Sharks doing a little bit of a better job this time at containing Hickleton.
Timeout taken here, I think, by Victoria. Into their final timeout.
Definitely in range here for Victoria to take a couple of shots. Soteropoulos has been comfortable throwing the ball from this distance all game.
Yeah, in a good position, 3rd and 5. Whether they go deep to someone like Turner or even kind of Boyd wanting those deep ends, or if they just try to rely on another Strong underneath catch to Maxitov.
Well, I think third down here we've got the option to either take a shot or simply go for the first down. If we don't get the score, then they'll likely have enough of a distance to get beyond the sticks.
And look, I'll tell you what as well, they've got a timeout in hand. You know what we haven't seen enough of in this competition? A draw play.
I have seen a couple of draws here, but not too many. I know what you're saying. A good little mix-up here to a change of pace for these defensive linemen. Some sort of delay or draw.
Turner in motion. Will they just give it to him? No, they won't. It will be a pass. They'll hit Turner in stride. Nicely done. Get past the sticks. Gets out of bounds. Good conversion there for Victoria. Not only getting the first down, but stopping the clock.
We don't have to be too aggressive like we said. We did have the option. And this time a great job. Just to get the first down. Reduce that strength. We're now on the 11-yard line. So a really easy distance. And everything in the playbook here available for us.
Especially, and we'll give credit there, the play design to get it out of bounds with 31 seconds remaining with a timeout in hand. It opens up the middle of the field, right?
That it does. In a situation like this, we've got the ability to run the ball with this offensive line, and Hinkleton is doing such a great job. Or any one of these receivers, as we said, Soteropoulos has hit each of them for a touchdown.
Turner in motion again. Soteropoulos looks that way, will throw that way. Was looking for Boyd. Too much air under it though. Incomplete. Still plenty of time. 26 seconds left on the clock. Second down though and 10.
Looks like some good coverage here.
I think he expected Boyd to keep working inside there.
Yeah, a bit of another minor miscommunication. Looked like some sort of hitch route there on the outside when Soteropoulos is expecting some sort of post or some sort of in route. Trips to the short side.
Turner working the outside again. They're going to go to Turner, and Turner rewards them. That is Soteropoulos' 5th touchdown of the day. Turner's 2nd just before the close of the half.
This is that play that they opened up this drive with. Motioning across the field to a nice quick out. In man coverage here, it would seem that the defender that's responsible for Turner is trailing him from the other side of the field and 2 yards behind the play the whole way through.
And with that touchdown, that moves him to 7 touchdowns for the tournament, Soteropoulos. Tying his counterpart, and now we'll try to add another 2-point conversion. Fumbles there. It doesn't matter who's it recovered by, it will be short, so 2-point conversion will stay off the board. But for the sake of a fumble recovery, it's our big man Vitali. And this is that beautiful pass for a touchdown pass, just too much speed there for Kyle Budd.
Great play design to get the man open. Turner sent on motion, and like we said earlier, the defender responsible for Turner by design will be trailing that motion, and obviously a great ball thrown to the outside of that out route, and that just leaves some good space for Turner to turn up into, and a great job here from the 11-yard line for the score.
So that is 5 touchdowns on the day. It's 7 in the tournament for Simon Soteropoulos. As I said, tying Cooper Henshaw, his opposing quarterback here, for the 2nd most passing touchdowns in the tournament, both trailing Queensland quarterback in Gorka Chapari.
Soteropoulos in this offense are having a great day. We said at the beginning of the game, Victoria only averaging about 16 points per game. Here we're more than double that, so this offense having a field day today.
Kenny Liu, no surprise, in on that play. Special teams specialist, 2018 junior MVP for Gridiron of Victoria. And we have a South Australian player down. It is Cody Biggs out of the Port Adelaide Spartans.
He might just be winded here, hopefully nothing too serious.
15 seconds here. It'll be interesting what South Australia do, whether they want to try and heave it for a couple scores, or they'll just kneel it out and take it to halftime.
I think in a situation like this, I mean, we're in the playoffs, fighting for that 3rd position. We're going to have to stay aggressive, I would say. And don't be surprised if you see Henshaw lobbing that ball up, but hopefully a smart couple of plays we can get us down the field and not be too reckless throwing that turnover to the Eagles.
The biggest thing maybe to consider for the Sharks here, so Victoria have come out and blown out their scoreline. They're on their way to a complete rout here in the Bronze Bowl. But if South Australia want to keep this as regulation timing, they are currently sitting at a 30-point deficit. One more score in the second half for the Eagles. That will push this into a running clock.
That is not what the Sharks need. More time is of the essence, put it that way.
Well, the Victorian Eagles is number 23. And Cody Biggs seems to be making his way to the sideline somewhat comfortably. But Victoria well and truly have a stranglehold on this game now that their offense has found the go button and their defense are playing very effectively after the fast start from South Australia.
What we don't want to see is another three and out here. 3 short plays that go nowhere. I know we've only got 15 seconds on the clock. But hopefully South Australia is thinking smart like Victoria did, thinking to get to the sideline. They've got those 3 timeouts, so hopefully some good time management here as we drive down the field.
Well, only one safety it appears for Victoria. That's OJ Flomo. Everyone else is manned up, man on man. Henshaw looking underneath, incomplete. I think that might be 12 seconds, 11 seconds left after that play.
Just trying to hit a quick, fast pass out to the sideline, giving that receiver the option to run out of bounds and stop that clock.
Once again, playing aggressively, Victoria. They'll probably go with a blitz here. No, they'll trust their D-line. Dibbies have backed off. Henshaw's going to run for it. They'll take it out of bounds. Keep in mind, South Australia's got plenty of timeouts. Bennett's remonstrating with the opposition. Believes he was wronged. 4 seconds remaining in the game. Or in the half, I should say.
Trying to keep it short and outside on the last 2 plays. Let's see what South Australia will do if we think aggressive here for what will ultimately be the last play of this half.
And it's a low snap, but picked up. But Finn Hazel-Polkinghorn's rushing Henshaw. Henshaw is evading the entirety of the Victorian front, but eventually thrown down to the ground there.
Flag up.
And flags have been thrown. That is Matthew Tafuga attracting the flag after taking down Henshaw.
That might give us one more play.
And it looks like this flag's going to be waved off.
There is no foul for a late hit out of bounds. The tackling question was legal.
There it is, legality.
Half time.
dramas. And that will take us to halftime here. 42 points to 12. Victoria have stretched out the close first quarter and controlled the second quarter to give themselves a big lead over the Sharks. 42 points to 12. We're heading into halftime. Kenny Andres and Dane Robinson. And during halftime, you'll hear an interview we had with Patrick Carroll, the South Australian head coach. But they'll be coming a little later. We'll take a short break during halftime and we'll be back on the other side. See you in about 10-12 minutes. Patrick Carroll with the SA Sharks. Mate, look, it's the best record your team has put together since, I think it was 2013, since Drew Aiken was head coach. You've got to be pretty proud of these lads.
Thanks, Kenny. Yeah, exceedingly proud of the team. We came in, the reason I applied for this job was to make sure that the future of Gridiron SA was in good hands, to make sure that these young men were improving every game as football players and as young men. I'm really happy. We just had a great chat about that before in the huddle. We're really proud of the boys and how they've played this tournament, regardless of results, wins and losses aside. The way that they came out of that Queensland game, how they took their pride in their integrity, that's the first thing the Queensland guys said to us, and that's what allowed us to be so successful versus WA. We've got the same mentality coming into this game. Whatever happens on the field, we're proud of our guys.
Mate, you've pretty much summed up the next question, but mate, any final outgoing thoughts when you come to the conclusion of this tournament?
It's been fantastic. It's been a great experience for me. This is my first tournament. For a lot of these guys, the vast majority of them, their first tournament. All they're talking about is the next tournament. They cannot wait. Some of them are shattered that they're like a month too old, but we've got some guys here who are 15, 16. They're so excited. They've got the lay of the land now, so hopefully in the next tournament, SA is more of a bigger threat.
Coach Carroll, appreciate your time, and good luck, and maybe see you next tournament.
Thank you very much, Kenny.
Watch the calf muscle. Cameras 3 and 4, can I have you back standing up, please?
Second half option, South Australia to receive.
All right, we are back. Junior Nationals 2019 Day 5 of the AGL. Fifth and final day here for the Junior Australian Gridiron League Championships. Victoria, it was a tight game to start the first quarter, but they've bounced out to a resounding lead. 30 points of difference right now between themselves and the South Australian Sharks, en route to taking third place here in their return to the Gridiron Australian Championships. I welcome back my co-caller and colour commentator in Dana Robinson. Mate, how do you see the second half looking?
Well, hopefully we get a bit of a change of pace from South Australia. They really need to turn it on this half if they want to keep this game close.
And I remind everyone that the running clock will come into effect if Victoria get on for another 6-pointer. We'll soon have that on-screen scoreboard operating for you. But yes, once we hit a 35-point margin, the clock will stop for only very few things, such as timeouts, penalties, but won't stop for changes of possessions.
The way this Victorian team's been playing offensively, another touchdown definitely isn't out of the question. So we're really going to have to see this offense from the Sharks really step it up this time around.
And it's another low snap for Henshaw. Gets it over the top though. That is Beard. Gets it past the 40. That was almost disastrous, but nice improvisation there from Cooper Henshaw.
Well, the bobbled snap turn layup here. A bit of a rainbow ball to that out route. Great adjustment to be able to come back and make this play by Rogan Beard. Managed to turn what could have been disastrous again. It's something quite positive. 7-yard gain.
2nd down and 3. Another average snap. Another nice play on the run to Beard. The exact same scenario. The exact same response.
It's not very often that you can turn these mistakes into these big plays, and South Australia have managed to do it twice in a row here. Great job by, I believe it's Henshaw, getting that ball out quickly to keep this play alive.
Yeah, this time they went to the left. Henshaw. Well, this bobble won't even get to him. Victoria jump on this one. Only first possession of the second half. The Eagles take the ball away.
3rd time unlucky in this scenario. The bobbled snap again by South Australia, and this time OJ Moapati just having to fall on top of that one. Right place, right time, and Victoria come up with the ball. Not what we wanted from the Sharks.
I think this is a situation where the pressure of the Victorian defensive line is starting to get to the O-line of the Sharks. Those snaps were picture perfect to start the game, and all of a sudden a few sacks later start having to think about a few more things than snapping the ball.
I think just getting penetration here from the defensive line, the center just trying to over compensate for what was obviously some devastating pressure and get his head in there nice and early, but that looks like it's affecting the snap.
1st and 10 Eagles. It is Jepson Raby breaking a tackle, still going downfield, following the final block, and Bunn eventually runs him out of bounds at the 10. But Jacob Jepson Raby from the Geelong Buccaneers with a good run.
That's some great agility in the backfield here, and good lead blocking by Ezra Iu. Doing a great job up the field, getting to the second level and just creating that second gap for the running back to flit on through.
We've seen a change in quarterback now for the second half. Tom Troth with his 2 touchdowns in the tournament, looking to relieve Soteropoulos, seeing what he can do with this offense. He'll hand off to Jepson Raby. Jepson Raby again running the inside zone nicely, still moving the legs. Not the biggest man, but look at him carry the pile.
He might be in the end zone here.
No signal from either official. Looks like he'll be marked down at the 1, inside the 1 in fact. Can run an inside zone.
That's just a great job here by Jepson Raby. He just keeps the shoulders down, keeps those legs driving. South Australia really having a hard time to bring him down.
And less than a yard out.
I'm expecting run here again. Keep your eyes on Jepson Raby just to power this in.
Maybe a football and a half away.
I'm guessing up behind Isaac Tui on that right-hand side.
And they'll give it back to him. He has to make a man miss in the backfield. Where will they mark him down? Not getting a signal. I think his hip hit the turf before he crossed the, or broke the plane, I should say.
That might be Alex Rossi, number 32, making that tackle. An important play there in the backfield. Initially shedding the block.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good call there.
Initially shedding the block, but making an important tackle around the hips to bring the man down.
Just look at the left hip when it hits the ground, or maybe even the outside of the leg.
Yeah, the right knee seems to be down before we cross the plane.
Even closer now.
I think we're going to see the same play again.
Their nose is over the end zone. They'll give it to big Philly Moatu. Make no mistake, you won't stop that man that close to the goal line. Touchdown, Victorian Eagles.
It's just power football. Get the big man there. It's going to be hard to stop him from gaining that 1 yard.
Javil Philly Moatu, second touchdown of the tournament. And ladies and gentlemen, I haven't got the official word run into me, but that should see us moving into a running clock on the conclusion of this drive. 2-point conversion. One time down. We'll give it back to Jepson Raby. He'll bounce to the outside nicely. Add 2 more points, and there's 50 for Victoria. Putting up a score this morning.
Great job to bounce that one outside by Jepson Raby. He's reading his holes well and getting to the space when he needs to. Number 54, Paul Hutchinson, doing a great job that time of driving his man back. Giving Jepson Raby really a two-way go. He could have gone anywhere behind that block.
So, not sure if Paul or Miles will get to me and get the official call for the running clock. There's a 38-point margin now. I think it just got cycled into me. Running clock will come into play now. Ooh. And that is Tui Cabo, who passed a concussion test at halftime, immediately takes the first hit early in the second half.
Ooh,
and a ball to the head. That's good for him.
Great kickoff there by Victoria. Nice height and bit of an awkward bounce here that causes a dribble, and gives just enough time for that Victorian rush to get down the field, make an impressive tackle well inside their own half.
Got a bit of work now. The wind has been taken out of their sails after their explosive start. Started the game throwing touchdown passes to Rogan Beard and Tim Tuikaba. Haven't seen any action since. High snap, but better. And taken down, Finn Hazel Polkinghorn. Getting in there almost as fast as the snap.
This time the snap was on target, but we've got to have a bit of a missed block from someone. From
one Mississippi, two Mississippi. You don't even get 2 Mississippi.
That's Hazel Polkinghorn. He's having a great game and getting right through that offensive line.
OJ Moapati also coming in seconds behind. Almost certain that a bunch of his other linemen would be picking up sacks if Finn wasn't getting in there so quickly.
Adam Dingley's going to be in charge of Hazel Polkinghorn this time around. They've got the double team to try and negate his presence.
They try to get it quickly to Bunn, but they can't quite find the passing lane. The outside pressure there from, I think it was Sione Foliaki. Was not getting to the quarterback, took away the quick lane he wanted. 3rd and 16.
Being this close to your own end zone, the defensive lineman is bleeding from the eyes right now trying to get to the quarterback. This is a great opportunity for a big play.
Receivers running double slants on the outside. Unfortunately, it lands between them, Sam Young and Heindeleder. The 2 outside guys doesn't hit either of them. That brings up 4th down. And now they'll be punting from awfully close to their own goal line.
Hazel Polkinghorn again, causing plenty of pressure up front and just really having some trouble keeping the blocks on him. If we go to a one-on-one situation, the South Australian team are really having some trouble at keeping him at bay. Ex-outback player, and you would have seen with the helmet on, but he's doing a great job of causing pressure in that backfield. South Australia get the punt away. Great movement here by Kenny Liu. Still running that ball.
Threatening to break away there and eventually tackled in Rogan Beard, pushing up off him.
Play down.
It's a lineman back in the South Australian end zone.
Rogan Beard having a great tournament. Great tackle that play.
make out the number of the linemen down. Again, injuries, particularly one like this, is one of the few reasons clock will stop.
And just the length of this tournament starting to be felt by these players. Constant contact slowly wearing down on the players that have been here for the duration of the tournament, and hopefully we're looking okay here.
Let's see. I think as he coached down Daniel Noonan there, they're still rocking his famous Texas Longhorns hat. There's Coach Callaway. There's a marker in his shirt. There's a new one.
Cheerleader style shirt there, center of your screen. Very interesting choice.
Hey man, it's hot. You gotta do what you gotta do. And he's still down. He's getting a bunch of attention there from Dr. Is it Alia here?
It is. Kamali is her surname. Alia Kamali.
She was one of your players, no?
Yeah, she's been around for the New South Wales League. Started with the UNSW Raiders. Also had a season at the UTS Gators. Now having a try out at the Central Coast Sharks. But an emergency room medical doctor as her daytime job. Or at least used to be before, I believe, now the medical trainer for the Giants women's AFL team.
Oh, there you go. Quick shout out to Kennard's Hire, who hooked us up with an extra scaffold here to provide some of these angles we're providing you throughout the tournament. And there's some of the crowd starting to filter in ahead of the game at 12:45 for the National Championship. Do have a slightly bigger gap. You see a lot of the All-Stars here. All-Stars relaxing now with their tournament done. Saw them throwing around the ball at halftime. Referee still asking now, Dane. Oh, there's some more of the All-Stars before I get to this. There's some of the coaching staff. There's Sam Kenner. Can easily be confused as one of the coaching staff. The ongoing joke throughout the tournament.
Absolutely.
Big Sammy. And it looks like the player is going to make his way off there. We're finally getting a look at his number.
Adam Dingley.
Adam Dingley. He's had quite a job this afternoon. Talking to Patrick Carroll about some of his players during camp earlier this week, and did mention Adam Dingley and how highly he thought of him, and is good mates with Todd Dawson, who's one of his offensive line counterparts. Todd Dawson's older brother. Sorry, my apologies. Wrong Dawson. Todd's his older brother. Played in 2017. Dawson, I'm thinking of as Brett Dawson. And there's a nice completion there to the outside for the Victorian Eagles as we get back under the way.
Chad Perkins coming in again aggressively to finish off that play, but
Cody Sproul.
Great coverage here. And Caleb Skipworth, we'd like to see him try and play the ball this late stage of the game. South Australia really going to have to try and make some plays, force some turnovers, and maybe even get some defensive scores to try and even out the scoreline.
I Thing is, unfortunately, when you're trying to chase a lead, your playbook gets a little more predictable.
That's it.
In the way that Victoria are playing right now. I can see them adding more to the scoreboard, especially with a man like this carrying the football. Montel Wick. Montel Wick scoots in the right side pylon. Touchdown, Victoria.
Again, great running, managing to make 3 people miss this time around.
Scrubbed that. Did I get early? No, out of bounds. Hold the phone.
Oh, it would have to be very close.
See if we can see it on this angle. Thought he managed to keep his right foot in. I think
He must have
right
grazed
there.
the sideline on the last yard or two.
One last look before live action is back in.
Somewhere there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Great defensive stop.
They've marked him out at the 3.
Let's see if they give it to him again.
Exactly right. Let's see if they give it back to him. They go to Hickleton. Hickleton very politely gets held up at the 1 to see if Montel Wick can get another carry. Good teammate.
Exactly right. Take a very unselfish knee at the 1. Rather the 3.
More than that, yeah. This back line of scrimmage. Looking to get this back to Montel Wick. Let's see if they give it back to the big man.
He's earned this touchdown, if any.
Is that it? Oh. Okay, no, maybe you're wrong. Getting fed weird information. That was a touchdown then, I suppose. 56-0.
And the 2-point conversion there to Hinkleton unsuccessful.
The joys of calling from the corner of the end zone. So 56-12. The score continues to grow for the Eagles. And there's the first shot into Houston for us, the operational tent. And there's Ethan Lee currently directing up a storm. So yeah, apologies for that. Montel Wick did get in. I was right the first time. For those who can't see, we've literally got both end zone referees blocked off from vision for us here. It's a tough pickup for the Sharks, and he'll eventually take this out of bounds. That's Sam Young.
Just inside the 25-yard line. Full length of the field here now to travel for the Sharks. Victoria certainly not making their job any easier for them.
Again, that's another name we haven't been able to say all that much. Sam Young, I think one of the detriments of having such a big first game is that everyone game plans for you. Sam Young exploded in game 1. 3 touchdowns for over 200 yards. Scored another in game 3. But so far, yet to record a reception.
Hazel Polkinghorn still causing havoc from that defense.
Tui Carbon now in at quarterback. Well, they go direct snap to him. Not with a lot of success. Taking him down immediately is the linebacker and Bruce Rishon.
It's a great job of outside containing, keeping that outside shoulder free. Being able to reach out and make that play. Great job.
Offside on the defense. Number 59. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
While he played that right, he seems to have played it too eagerly. They called him offside.
That's a cooler. You make an amazing play like that. You play the edge perfectly. Only to hear that. So that what should have been a loss there for South Australia ends up being a 5-yard gain. Down remains at first. So 1st and 5 now for the Sharks. Tuikaba stays at quarterback. They try to run it with him, but the D-line refused to relent. Holding him up there is big 52 back on the field, Khalif Jama. That's a formidable line out there. Rashon, Moapati, Hazel Polkinghorn and Jama, of course. And then on the edge as well, you've got Kenny Liu, who can just destroy one edge there if they send him on a blitz. Looks like that's the situation right now. They sent 6 there, and they don't get home, but they stop the pass. That'll bring up 3rd down, 3rd and 5 now for the Sharks.
Pass intended for Theo Ashley, and Tuikaba just looked a little bit pressured in that throw, throwing off the back foot and not having quite the power that he needed to get the ball there.
talked about how Cooper Henshaw's been the quarterback almost the entirety of this campaign. Coming on briefly was young Chris Liberens, who was probably largely brought on more just for the experience and building for the future. He's a young quarterback, and looks like Tui Kaba, the more physical of the guys, will get an opportunity here. Tries to flick a pass there to Theo Ashley. Incomplete. Coverage is tight by Victoria, and that brings up 4th down, and also brings up the end of the 3rd quarter.
Ashley, intended receiver again. This time the ball hit him pretty much in the numbers, but perhaps didn't have the vision. Great coverage, or great distraction at least, from the defensive back this time around.
Was South Australian sideline. Victoria cruising right now, heading into the 4th quarter. Of course, running clock applied. South Australia likely will punt this away.
Getting into a pretty difficult situation here for South Australia.
And you can see some of the GA stuff in the background there. Darren Mitchell, Matt Steele, John Hollywood Rowe, of course, the junior Outback head coach for the upcoming World Cup. And it looks like Hollywood might have a interview ready. We might throw down to Hollywood on the sideline.
Got a special guest with me right now, the chairman of Gridiron Australia. Whoa, there we go. That's very loud here in the grandstands there. Darren Mitchell. Darren, it's great that you're here. How have you been liking the competition so far?
Oh, it's great to see kids running around playing football, and the expansion of the All-Stars team to bring players from the Eastern Seaboard.
Now we've got Championship Day, and it's great that you can come here. They're all playing for the Championship Trophy, and we've got some MVPs.
National level, and South Australia with their juniors coming through. It's also good to see them play good football.
Thank you, Chairman. Back to you, Kenny.
And thank you, Hollywood. Sorry for the interruption there for those watching the stream. I have a couple of dropouts there and didn't quite hear everything Darren Mitchell had to say, chairman of Gridiron Australia. But talking about how mainly the expansion of the All-Star team and the growth out there and what that might mean for more teams competing in future. North Queensland, Tasmania, ACT coming back into the fold, and this Hickleton coming from the up-back position again hasn't been touched. Jets his way all the way to the 30. You want to call someone a scout back, he fits that definition to a T.
Fantastic running, and we see Wick has been filling that position earlier, that fullback give, but a little bit of a change up here with Hickleton. Changing up that power for elusiveness this time around, and he did a great job. That's 20 plus yards, great run.
South Australia now trying to slow down this juggernaut that has been the Victorian offense. Hickleton doing plenty of damage. Tom Troth surveys the defense, sees the blitz coming, calls it, hands it off to Hickleton again. Hickleton turns to his right and gets past the line of scrimmage, picks up a short gain.
Same play called there, and still some good success. Not the 20-yarder we saw just before, but certainly anything around the 4-5 yard line, you're going to be 4 or 5 yards of yards gained is going to be what you're looking for on offense.
2nd and 6. I'm probably Honestly, probably closer to 2nd and 5, but I am on a skew with angle. Trust the call we get from the sideline. 2nd and 6 ahead for the Eagles. Gibson Raby in a tailback. He'll take the toss. Oh, I thought he recovered it beautifully, but South Australia, well, who will get on it eventually? The ball's bouncing everywhere. I think Troth has eventually recovered it. That exchanged hands a time or two.
That was a very lucky result there. That could have very easily been a ball for South Australia. A hospital ball thrown on the toss from the quarterback after a bobbled snap, and the problems just continued on from there. Bobbled snap, delayed pass, could have meant trouble for number 26. And then the juggling active. Who's getting on that bar of soap?
Now it's 3rd and 18, followed the mishandled exchange. Don't have to get it all here. Victoria proving they're more than happy to go for it on 4th down. Hickleton and Troth, your partnership in the backfield.
Cody Sproul here on the wide side by himself.
That's who they'll aim for, but it is batted down at the line of scrimmage. Rogan Beard, the one clapping his hands after that one. And that will bring up 4th down for the Eagles.
You see Tom Troth just drop back, send his eyes over to the left, trying to get that defense to shuffle across and take advantage of a one-on-one matchup here on the bottom of the screen.
Well, he's got a gymnast background, Rogan Beard. Certainly showed his hops off there to knock that one down.
And we've seen him do that a couple of times through this tournament. He's had a great tournament.
Trips left. That Sproul's near to his screen on his own.
Same sort of setup.
Good snap this time though. He's aiming for the slanter. Sproul leads him a bit too much though. Incomplete. Turnover and down. South Australia will jump back on offense and see if they can't add to the 12 points they grabbed in the first quarter.
Victoria still remaining aggressive, going for it on 4th down and not playing the field positioning game.
That's John Formentera, I'll pronounce correctly. Doing a good job getting some pressure up the middle there.
Looks like Mabutu's come in at the centre position.
Well, Mabutu actually, started the tournament at centre, had his issues. And now they're going to bring him back. I think that might be Keane in the backfield with Henshaw, who's returning to quarterback. They'll pitch it to Keane. Was that a backward throw? No, the referees say he went forward. I think it was awfully close, if you ask me.
Very.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to tell from this angle, but...
Snap certainly fixed there with the substitution of Mabutu. That one right on the target.
Anyways, back to the live. Henshaw throwing the slant to Sam Young. Sam Young's got it. Can't do much with it once he gets there, though. Eventually taken down by the defensive back. And
Sam Young, great job to tuck this ball away. 2 hands on the ball and defend from the defender, number 32, Joshua Porter.
Kyle Haynes, I was confused there. I thought it was a 13, then maybe a 23. It's a defensive back wearing number 73. It's Kyle Haynes.
Interesting choice of number.
Usually it's the other way around.
Big man in little man's body. Oh!
And this is tipped and intercepted by one of the linemen. They're rocking and mauling now, trying to roll him forward. Henshaw's pass is tipped and falls into the waiting arms of the Victorian defensive line.
With number 24, Kenny Leo, coming through unblocked, causing huge pressure on the quarterback.
It's Bruce Richon. Had his tackle for a loss taken away from him earlier. With a penalty this time, he gets an intercept.
And that's a great team play right there. Plenty of pressure on the quarterback, allowing the big man to come up and make a play.
And maybe it happened too quickly there, but you never see a defense run faster to create a convoy than when you see a defensive lineman pick off the pass. Back on offense very quickly. Hickleton's back. Nice move. And despite the sweet move, only a short gain there. But hey, if they can... Those runs where they don't need Hickleton to make those crazy moves in the backfield. He's usually turned in 20 yards.
Exactly right, and it's been the theme for him all game. The first person is almost certainly going to miss when you come up 1-on-1 against Hickleton. And Ethan Galley, who was a major factor on this South Australian defence last game, kept at bay here by the size of this offensive line from Victoria, but huge blitz by number 1. I believe John Formentera. Might be Jack Paizula flying through, unblocked, and great play in the backfield.
And see, 3rd and 10 following that play.
And this is an interesting change-up. Number 54, Isaac Tui, lining up in the backfield as a fullback. Get behind the big man.
Big Tui is back on the field. Look at the moves. Left, right, right stick, spin around. And he finds a way to get theirs forward and converts on 3rd down. It's a luxury when you can hand the ball off in 3rd and convert.
And they're doing it in such exotic ways that these South Australians are not seeing the same play, even though it is the same play. We've got 54, Isaac Tui, who is someone you can't miss out there, and certainly a problem, a matchup for any of these linebackers or DBs that try and fill the hole. Number 54, Isaac Tui again in the backfield. Certainly a threat to receive this ball. And speaking of
the
devil,
big man. Yes, give it to him. Look at him go. Will anyone stop him? I don't think they will. He'll rumble and stumble into the end zone. Big Isaac. Oh, sorry. Is that Isaac Dewey? It is indeed.
Rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. We love a big man scoring. 1, 2, 3 missed tackles. Here comes number 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 and 9. That's basically the entire South Australian defence. Great job, Isaac Tui.
Oh, when he's huffing and puffing, but jeez, that's a highlight for the tournament. Look, you can't see for the shadows, but you can just see all the South Australian eyes light up trying to figure out how they're going to take him down.
Exactly right.
Not one of them went low.
And he's still on there. Same option available.
Oh, give it back to him.
Oh.
Well, Hickleton will have to take it on the catch. And he'll be stopped on the 2-point conversion, but there's a tally mark I'm happy to make. Isaac Tui on the touchdown scoring list.
And I think after that big run, he's going to need a bit of a water break.
And probably grab some oxygen there for him too. Anytime, maybe I make this reference anytime I see a big man in 54, but reminds me of another big man who wore 54 in this tournament back in 2006, 2007, Jesse Williams, who obviously went on to play in some big stages in the football. He too was given the ball to carry a couple times. Scored a 2-point conversion against ACT, I think it was, when they gave him a couple plays on offense.
Being a defensive back, it's never fun having to verse or come up one-on-one against those big boys. It's never a good time.
You gotta wonder if the rest of the linemen, O-line or D-linemen, are lining up, getting right next to coach, saying, hey, if there's another carry, give it to us. But with 3 seconds remaining, the Sharks look like they'll get the final play here. And it'll be Tui Kaba trying to make something happen. He takes another shot, and that might be enough to see this game come to a close.
offense might get one play here. Victoria seem to be walking off the field. Certainly winning in a convincing fashion here today.
Yeah, certainly sending a statement. As I mentioned, plenty to play for. Was in contention, but the way the interpretation of the tiebreakers saw New South Wales progress. But they've proven that they would have suitably fit in well for that championship game.
Definitely no shortage of firepower here from Victoria.
Convincing win here, and they're about one, at the most two plays away from locking up third spot in their return to the Junior AGL.
We've got to be thinking Hail Mary on this play.
Oh, I'd love to see them do the old hook and ladder or
something fancy. Well, the eyes are on the end zone, surely.
Or maybe the old Cal Stanford. Maxitov on defense as well this time.
Moving to an empty set.
I think they're going to put him on Sammy Young. Sammy Young has broken free. Hazel Polkin on, and that's a pretty fitting finish for Victoria. Finn Hazel Polkin on, taking down Cooper Henshaw, and that should be the end of the game. That it is. In convincing fashion, the Victoria Eagles, they finished their tournament in third place with a 62-12 victory over the South Australian Sharks.
Fantastic game from Victoria. Momentum was on their side from the get-go. South Australia initially stayed with them, but as we approached the second half and beyond, it was all Victoria's game. Victoria got the chance to show off all of their players, including a couple of their tricky plays. The big and great play to see from Isaac Tui. But Soteropoulos here, a great game across the board. I think you mentioned 5 touchdowns across this game. Fantastic game for the quarterback, and probably my man of the match.
Yeah, he certainly had a first half. They took him off for the second half, let Troth run the show in the second. They went more back to the running backs, leading the charge as big Isaac Tui, which was one of the highlights of the tournament, seeing him taking it out from about 20 yards out. He's leading his Eagles into the handshake. And yeah, Soteropoulos, fantastic first half. 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers. Turner scored. Connor Boyd took one in from running back. Seth Hughes. Philly Moatu got in there as well. Dylan Carroll opened the scoring. Anton Maxitov added to his tally for the tournament. And for the South Australian Sharks, Cooper Henshaw chucked another couple of touchdowns as well. Rogan Beard and Tim Tui Carber on the other end of those. They're shaking hands now. That is the completion of the tournament for these two teams. 3rd and 4th place, Victoria Eagles taking out the bronze medal, and South Australia finishing in 4th, their highest finish in a couple of tournaments. So congratulations to them, congratulations to both teams. It's been a wonderful tournament for these two teams, and it's been a wonderful call from you there, Mr. Dane Robinson.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great couple of games to commentate on and get to look at this great angle, and I'm looking forward to the finals. Go New South Wales.
Not leaving your biases to the side, and that's why I've kicked you out. The National Championship will be kicking off at 12:45, coverage 20 minutes before that. That, of course, will be happening between the defending champions, the Queensland Sun Devils, going for the three-peat, trying to match the effort made by New South Wales when they locked up their three-peat in 2011, or 2013, my apologies. They'll be kicking off at 12:45. I'll be joined there from Coach Wolf or Coach Milos Vassell. We hope to have your company at 12:45. You have been watching the 2019 Junior Nationals.